Live via satellite, it's Rockline. The show where you interview the biggest stars in rock and roll. Rockline is brought to you by Standoff on Fox. Hi, I'm Bob Coburn, and tonight, from Los Angeles, we welcome Stephen Stills. To speak with Stephen, call the toll-free Rockline at 1-800-344-ROCK. That's 1-800-344-7625. One number toll-free from anywhere in the U.S. And now, let's welcome our guest. Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young continue their Freedom of Speech Tour 06 on August 8th as they take 35 songs in a 3.5-hour concert to a location near you. Tonight it's our pleasure to welcome a gentleman not afraid to speak his mind, Stephen Stills. How are you?
I'm just fine, I think. Well, let me rephrase that. I might be fine if... you were saying I was speaking my mind. I was equivocating. I was imitating a politician. How are you?
Well, you will speak your mind, and you're allowed to do that on this program, so
good.
Don't hesitate. Most of us know that you cut your hand in Toronto. How is it now? I don't see any big Band-Aids or anything.
It was the silliest thing, and but I could see the tendon when they're in bed before they set it up. And
wonderful.
But it's just fine. I missed the tendon by a little hair's breadth, so I've escaped instant, career-ending and injury again.
Close call, though, huh?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Did you have to compensate?
There are people that are, really devastated.
That it didn't end?
That it didn't end, yeah.
Oh, that's a macabre point of view. Did you have to compensate for playing for a couple of shows, or are you right back out there? You're a trooper anyway, so...
No, I'll know when it's too bad. Then if I can't go, it's really bad. Then and if I can't go 100%, I don't go.
Well, you brought a guitar tonight, and you said you'd play something a little later, but I still have a couple of questions for you. How have these audiences, the CSNY audiences, responded to so much political content? I mean, you guys are not pulling any punches.
Well, it's kind of basically the thing is that the people that show up, except by accident, we're preaching to our base,
I was going to say, are you preaching to the choir? Yeah.
Everybody pretty much knows what they're going to get when they show up, because we've certainly been talking about it. We were going to call it the Soapbox Tour or something. And but mainly the way to really get this is that we... it's a call to action, but at the same time, it's a giant political cartoon. And if you see the lyrics of Neil's new song, some of them are really, really funny. And most of it, and basically the circumstances that we find ourselves in today are absurd to the point of being really, really funny. I mean, there's nothing to do but laugh,
No, it beats crying.
Yeah, it beats crying. But the pond of fish is the 50% of lazy bastards that didn't vote.
Yeah, well, there you go. You can't bitch if you didn't vote. That's my attitude. Right. Stephen Stills is here to take your calls toll free, 1-800-344-ROCK. That's 1-800-344-7625. Do you think you're getting the message out to register, to vote, to speak your voice?
Actually, we're not. Well, I'm not. I'm doing. As a private citizen, along the way, I'm taking advantage of our schedule to go out in support of local House candidates, because this by-election is very, very important, this off-year election. And there are 42 seats in play that we could actually take back, and end up with the majority of people who, at least, at the very least, wouldn't let George Bush do everything that he wants.
Okay. When's the last time you were audited?
The last time anyone had the audacity to pull that kind of crap.
Yeah, well, it's a hazard that you risk when you do stuff like that,
Yeah, well,
because I know people that have spoken out big time, regardless of the administration, Democratic or Republican, that got audited.
It actually wasn't long enough ago for them to be able to tote the count. It's only gotten better. In other words, bring it.
We're going to play Driving Thunder to start off tonight from Man Alive. Tell us a little bit about the song, how it came together.
This is my toast to the opposition. This is about NASCAR, about really actually driving a race car.
Let's listen to it. Stephen Stills, Driving Thunder for you on Rockline. Oh, yeah, that is patented Stephen Stills right there.
Well, actually, that leads us to our question for your for next week's guest, for George Thorogood.
Well, don't say what it is, though. We'll play it next week. Because I heard you do it a minute ago. Don't say what it is. We'll play it next week.
Okay. But I had I like that George Thorogood likes that song.
Yeah. Well, I can see why, with all that slide guitar and everything in there.
Well, the Bo Diddley stuff. No.
And that, too, yeah. Do you have any affiliation with any racers? With anybody in NASCAR?
Other having survived them, no. I was going to say that I was listening to the lyrics to the song, and this tour is almost like driving a race car, because, it is thundering. It's 3.5 hours of nonstop. There's a break, but... that's just, you just catch your breath, and it's so many new songs to remember, and it's careening down the highway, and we're just barely in control and hoping for the best.
CSNY.com has all the tour dates for you. Your turn is coming next. A chance to talk with Stephen Stills, toll-free, 1-800-344-ROCK. That's 1-800-344-7625. He's going to play live for us a little later, but he won't tell me what he's going to play, so we'll all be surprised in a few minutes. Going to the timeout from Man Alive. This is called Ain't It Always. Stephen Stills, our guest tonight on Rockline. The number's toll-free, 1-800-344-ROCK. And make sure you go to our website, rocklineradio.com, and enter the Fox Prison Break contest. We're giving away $2,500. All you have to do is sign up for it. That's pretty good stuff. From Jacksonville, North Carolina, David starts us off tonight. Hi, David.
Yeah, hey, Stephen.
Hey, bud, how are you?
All right, how did the song For What It's Worth come about?
I've been trying to formulate some thoughts about the boys on the line over in the NOM, and just something, a little message that we cared about them. And then I ran across the silly riot on the street, and so the two sort of, melded into one message that wrote itself in about a half an hour.
Sometimes the good songs come together that way. This was a little riot on Sunset Boulevard back in the day.
Yeah,
right?
it was a funeral for a bar, please.
A funeral for a bar.
That's right. I kid you not.
It apparently got out of hand somehow.
No, it just spilled over into the street. There was nobody, raving or jumping on cars. It wasn't a riot. The cops caused the riot.
That happens sometimes.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, so it's a combination of the two. A little Vietnam shout out back then in Sunset Boulevard. Good stuff, David. Thank you very much. We'll take another on Rockline for Stephen Stills from Hackensack, New Jersey. Jim, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hey, how you doing, bud?
How are you?
I'm good.
I have a question for you. I've always been a fan of yours, and Crosby, Stills, Nash, Young, the whole band. Maybe you could tell me about the first time you met Neil Young, what it was like, and how you guys, got to writing some music.
Sure. I was doing a little tour across with a little folk group. I think it was 64, 65. We're not really sure, because if you can remember the 60s, you weren't there.
Yeah, of course.
And then there were, the timeline, there were things that happened that seemed like were years apart and were very compressed into just a few months. But I was playing at a little cafe in Thunder Bay, Ontario. It was then known as Fort William. And between our sets, they had this guy that was had a band from Winnipeg, and he asked to do a guest set on Saturday night between our two shows, and it was Neil and the Squires. And and he didn't really have any pressing engagements, so he hung out with us for the next week, trying to, wangle a job, and we actually sort of planned to get together and have a band even back then. But, we lived on A&W root beers and those horrifying cheeseburgers, and he had a hearse. Big, it was a Oldsmobile hearse, actually, wasn't a Cadillac. It was like a Buick, and it was really big. It was a Buick hearse, that's right. And it died on the way to Toronto, we understand. I went on, west to Winnipeg and Regina, but he went to Toronto, and there was named Mort. And the way that we met when he got to California was I pulled up behind him in traffic, and I saw a hearse with the Ontario plates, even though he got a new one, this one being a Pontiac. It could only have been one person. It was Neil Young in a hearse with Canada plates.
And you've been together 40 years now?
That's right.
So how did Springfield come together? Did you flag him down when you saw him?
No, that's the thing. I lost them. I made all the arrangements with with immigration and everything. Got him a sponsor and called his mom and, I don't know if you can. He broke up the band. Kenny's back in Winnipeg, and if you see him, tell him to call his mother.
Of course, call Mom. Toll free if you have to.
That's right.
Well, congratulations on 40 years together. The two of you have done some amazing things in that 40-year period.
Actually, this year has been probably the most fun of all.
Let's take another call from Burkeville, Ohio this time. Jeremiah, you are on Rockline with Stephen Stills.
How you doing, Stephen?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing just fine tonight. As a second-generation music lover of yours, I was just wondering, as a person that's grown up on 24-hour news source of everything that's going on in the world, do you think that's going to have a dramatic effect on people in my generation as far as when it comes concerned with, the political message of rock and roll?
Well, I don't think, the impact, first of all, let me say, I think your generation got a little short end of the stick. Everybody pays attention to the boomers, but the ones after that are really going to get shafted over this. And basically the political message of rock and roll is, political awareness, and more than anything, and just, be involved and remember your civics lessons. And of course, for your generation, they quit teaching civics, and I don't, we've failed you in a lot of ways. I'm speaking as a private citizen, not as a rock and roll star or anything like that. I mean, first of all, I'm an American and a father, but, we got to keep working on it, and the whole point of this tour is that we really got sick of being beat up by the Rush Limbaughs in the 24 hours of Ditto Head Radio, and decided to fight back. It's time to hear from our side, and something besides just a little Air America. That's just one voice. We need a lot of us, and we need to stand up and take the soul of our country back. I mean, we don't want the face of this bully representing us, and that's kind of where we're coming from. So
that would be the Freedom of Speech 06 tour, I believe, from Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, doing Woodstock for us. By Joni Mitchell, of course, Woodstock, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. I'm Bob Coburn. Rockline is brought to you by Fox. In the world of hostage crisis negotiators, they're the FBI's top two. This fall, everything is negotiable. Standoff, a new series coming Tuesdays, Fox Fall. Always good stuff coming from Fox. We're going into a timeout here, Stephen. You're going to play live for us on the other side. I mentioned Joni Mitchell. Was she the rock and roll woman that you wrote about in Buffalo Springfield?
No.
Who was that?
A gentleman doesn't tell.
Oh, my goodness. And carry on with Stephen Stills tonight on Rockline. You couldn't tell what key that was in? Listen to it?
No, well, the very beginning of it, I think they extended the acoustic part for the box set. Excuse me. I think they extended the thing for the box set, and I can't really, there's so much compression, I can't really tell those kids in.
And of course, it's really rearranged now, the way you guys do it live and stuff.
Oh yeah. That, we couldn't have possibly done it that way. That was a studio put together. It's got its place, but I like the way we do it now.
I do too. RocklineRadio.com is our website. You can see who's coming up on the show. George Thorogood is on next week. He'll be playing live. Ronnie James Dio the week after that. Asia reforming, the original 4 members. They're playing live too. Robin Trower's going to be here to take your calls on Rockline. And we're on MySpace too. The address there, myspace.com/Rockline Network. Again, myspace.com/Rockline Network. Time for the Nesquik Encore question of the week. Craving something choco smooth, rich, creamy, licious, grab a Nesquik. It's Carlos Santana.
Hi, Mr. Steven Stills. This is Carlos Santana. And my question to you is, how did it feel to be in the same room creating beautiful music with Brother Jimi Hendrix? And the second one is, how glorious is it to be in the same stage with my brother Neil Young? Both of them are my favorite guitar players, along with yourself. So how does it feel to be in the room creating glorious music with those great musicians?
How was it with Jimi Hendrix? Because you did a song with him, and I know you had a relationship with him.
Oh, man, it was just... it's very difficult to describe. It was like being in a room with a fire made of ice. I've got a great picture, and we're looking into. He's looking at my hand so intently. We're working out a bass part or something, working on an arrangement. It just shows what the man was really about. And he's just such a soulful dude and such a tragic loss.
Did you notice all the Hendrix stuff when you walked in here tonight? We have them all over the walls here.
I know. And I was thinking about, okay, what can I steal? Because I don't have anything. You know what I do have? I do have one of the coats that he wore that's tucked away in my closet. But I don't have. I've got one picture of he and I together.
And the other was about playing with Neil Young. A friend of mine once said Neil Young plays right from the frets directly into the amp, and there's just no gimmicks and no BS there to clutter things up. How do you feel about playing with him?
Actually, that's not true at all. He's got a box on the floor that is huge, and he's got an actual rheostat that turns the amp up, and he's got echoplexes and a Fender Echo, and he's got this thing that compresses it so hard that it's basically just noise, and he's got another thing that turns it into, a semi-truck and fire trucks and hookers, and, he's got everything.
Okay, give me a second. I'm calling Neil Giraldo right now and telling him, Neil, it ain't true, man. But you guys work together so well, especially this tour. You're trading off guitar solos and kind of taking each other on. It's got to be a thrill to play with somebody like that.
There's this, taking each other on. Clashes, guitar wars, the years. And I'm telling you, it is a conversation. It has always been a conversation. We might show off to each other, but we would never show each other up.
Well, that's just how we perceive it.
It's an invention of the press, and I am sick of it.
Well, Rockline sets the record straight on that, so you're more than welcome. That's one thing about coming here. You don't get edited, there you go.
Longest I guess there's my little faux pas there. Well, the FCC won't jump on it.
Okay. So how would you term what you and Neil do when you're in concert? Well, how would you like it?
They're conversations, and we're feeding off each other into this, into the greater, and we're showing off for each other, to each other. It's like great.
With hookers and fire engines.
But well, that's in his amplifier. It's the fire engines and the hookers and the engine.
Before you play live, let's take a couple more calls here.
Okay.
People lined up. They want to talk to you, Stephen.
Okay.
And our next caller is from Elmsford, New York, and we welcome Bill. Hi, Bill.
Hey, Stephen. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Okay, I'm going to see you a couple times at Jones Beach and once at PSC a couple weeks. I'm looking forward to it. Listen, I wanted to ask you, what's the significance of the purple giraffe on your first solo album cover? And if you met any of the other Beatles other than Ringo Starr that performed on that album?
Oh, I've met Paul McCartney on many occasions and George Harrison. I never got to meet John Lennon. The significance of the giraffe is I just liked it. I happen to have a thing for tall women. And I think I was, even though the woman that I was married to at the time that I had the giraffe, actually I hadn't even met her. I wasn't married yet. That was signifying the wife, my last final wife, who is my current wife, Kristen, and she's just, she's like 3 inches taller than me, and she is a giraffe. And she's just, moves with that same grace. And basically, it's just my favorite animal. That's all there is to it. And I think it was basically, in my 20s, I knew, because basically, when that picture was taken, I think she was about 5. When the first giraffe picture was taken, and now she's 40, and she's my wife, 39.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's sweet. We have a call from Greenwood, Indiana. This is Warren. You're on Rockline with Stephen Stills, Warren.
Hi. Hey, all us old-timers have songs of yours that, we just love. I mean, songs like Go Back Home does it for me, and anything off the first Manassas. I'm just kind of wondering where you might be going with your music next, because you still have surprises when you pull out Herbie Hancock and stuff like that on your recent album.
Well, I appreciate that you heard that. And yes, I do have surprises. And right now, this tour is such a labor of love, and just so much time. We're really beat up, I got to tell you. But it's kind of like the Rolling Stones. We just keep going until we drop. That's all there is to it. It's too much fun. But I'm too damn tired to come up with anything. Haven't written anything. I've got one new song, but it's not. I don't know if it's polished enough for the air. But I might try. I don't know. Maybe the next show. But I've got one that I'll play you from the new album. Speaking of that,
all right. Well, then we'll get to that in just a second. First, we're going to talk to Jimmy in Boston. Of course,
we have Master Control Freak here. Mr.
I'm just keeping the show going.
Mr. OC.
You know what?
I can't do my own lead-ins.
Look
Mr. Segue, you do the segue. Okay, it's your show. It's your show. It's your show.
Look at this. See all those phone calls there?
Yeah, okay.
Let's try to get to some of them, okay?
Let's take another. I was trying to make a really graceful segue.
Well, let's see what Jimmy has. Maybe Jimmy can help us out with a segue, too. Jimmy?
Okay.
Hi, Jimmy.
Hey, how you doing? God bless you, Mr. Stills. And I think you're the Benjamin Franklin of rock and roll. Absolutely. And what I'd like to know is, would you like to record a new studio album now that you're with the old lineup again? Because you guys are the old guard, and I'll tell you, I'll be first in line to get it.
CSNY.
Well, we'll see. I think we'd probably be better off with a live album. A studio album turns into one of those. We've got 4 guys that and then all of a sudden every sentence begins with the words, "Well, I think." And 18 months later, you're still not, and then you turn into the Eagles, and that's just not where we want to go. So I think the best chance for CSNY is a live, and we are filming every show, and we are recording every show. So that's probably going to be the best thing, because that's when we're the freest. And I'll probably do another solo studio album.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, record everything, because we want to see it. 35 songs in 3.5 hours. That's a double DVD right there.
Hello.
Would you like to segue into playing live? Do you have anything?
Well, see, the whole plot is ruined now, so we're just going to abruptly do it because you ordered it. I'm having so much fun putting this together.
I know you are. I'm having fun watching you, too, actually. So, another night where Bob loses control of the show. I don't mind at all. What are you going to play? You haven't told us anything.
I'm going to play a song off the Man Alive album, and I've never done an acoustic before without a rhythm, because it's basically a rhythm. You could be sung as a chant without any chords at all. And there's a lot of words, so if I happen to mumble and then suddenly stop, because I've had a senior moment, and senior moments can become, self-realizing prophecies, and then all of a sudden, this should haul me away like a gibbering idiot. Anyway, here it comes. Why not feed the people everywhere? Let the peace begin. sword to plowshares everywhere and feed the people. In the faraway third world countries, there's people need to be fed. So explain, Mr. Politician, why we send them guns instead of the seeds they've been planting in the ground, making their own way, self-sufficient without permission from the good old USA. But it seems they owe us a lot of money. And do you know what for? 'Cause the friends of your president make a killing on civil wars. Why not feed the people everywhere and let the peace begin? Turn your sword to plowshares everywhere and feed the people. Children are all fed. They got no motivation, making other people dead. Even with government persuasion of the most compelling kind, give them a choice, they'll be looking at you as if you lost your mind. But there's all of this craziness that will not go away till we stop feeding hatred with embargoes and blockades. Why take the time to worry about anybody else? Maybe talk about them and wonder how it felt, caught in the crossfire of someone else's fight. What is wrong is nobody is right. All religions, ideology, they suffer from the truth. But the lie becomes reality when the people start to shoot. We've got a whole lot to answer for, but who are we to judge? We got a whole lot to answer for, but who are we to judge when we stop? Oh man, I am lost. See what I told you? Common sense is enough to get settled in a grudge, but the kindness of strangers, it means no disrespect. Just be honest with the help you give, means there's nothing to expect. Why not feed the people everywhere and let the peace begin? Sword to plowshares everywhere and feed the people.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Stephen. Beautiful words, beautiful playing, beautiful thoughts. Really well done.
Beautiful senior moment.
You know what? Who cares? It's it's casual. It's a living room kind of thing. You know, that was cool. That was really cool. You want to stop at that one, or you want to do another one?
Let me take a few calls first.
You want to take a couple of calls first?
Yeah.
All right, we'll see if we can get a couple of calls up here. In fact, we got one right now from West Palm Beach, and
cool.
that was really, really pretty. And, the lyrics to that make so much sense. Just maybe,
Well, Swan.
You don't want to feed the people, man. I mean, we're doing a bunch of stuff that just doesn't make sense to me sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Feed the people. Can't argue with that. West Palm Beach. Ron, welcome to Rockline.
Hi guys, I'm gonna see the band on August 8th when they open up here in Palm Beach.
Let's hope that the hurricane doesn't get there first.
That's true. And the first time I saw you all play together was August 8th of 1974 in Roosevelt Stadium in Jersey City. And my question is, what historical event did you, Stephen, come to and announce to the crowd during the middle of the concert?
That was actually my dad. Because I'm not that old. I mean, I wasn't around in 1974. No. On August 8, 1974, at 12:09 p.m., Richard M. Nixon resigned the President of the United States, and I announced it that night.
8/8/74. Yep. A lot of people remember that date, as a matter of fact. Yep. A lot of people pushing for that. So much of the CSNY material is about Vietnam and Richard Nixon. Now you apply it to Iraq and George Bush. We've seen this movie before, but these songs... Did we learn our lesson? I don't think we did.
No. I mean, read history. I mean, you know, if you just think back a couple of thousand years, there were about 1,000 years. In the magnificent 13th century, there were these morons running around the desert dressed in ovens, trying to, you know, take over Jerusalem for Christianity, and it's still just as silly. But the one difference about today is that we really embrace and honor as a noble thing to do any kid that puts on a uniform and is willing to stand a post in order of defense. Nobody can tell me that's not noble. And to throw those guys out in harm's way, for over a lie and misinformation, a paid informant that everybody suspects, to me, borders on the criminal, but the soldiers are too honorable to step out of the chain of command and speak their minds. And but we've got 8 of them running for Congress, and eight veterans of Iraq, either Gulf War I or II, and all the Democrats, and I'm really happy about that. And that's the big difference today, and that one, I really am happy that we have put that one together and put that, try and blame it on the soldiers.
Do you see a leader out there?
Huh?
Do you see a leader for the presidency in 2.5 years?
Oh, I'm not even concerned with that. The first thing to do is
do the midterms first.
Win the damned house, and then but somebody will emerge. We hope. I just hope someone will emerge, because so far I don't see them.
Okay.
Except maybe the slogan will be, "We were right in the first place," and it's Albert Gore, and it has been him all the time.
Let's take another call from Chicago this time. This is Eve. Welcome to Rockline, Eve.
Go see that movie.
What songs have touched you the most on this tour?
What was that, Eve? Again?
What songs have touched you the most on this tour?
What songs have touched you the most on this tour? Because you're playing some of Neil's new stuff.
Man. That's so hard. After the guard, I mean, the whole thing, the whole movement. But the thing that's the most touching is when we do find the coast of freedom, and we show the pictures of the 2,700 people that we've lost already in Iraq, or it's at 2,500, 2,575, something.
I think it's 2,700 and something right now, which
right,
is...
yeah, and something, and you know, each of those ends something, some mother's son, you know,
human being, right?
And it just, you know, and you can see me when I start to want to rave, you know, 'cause I know those kids really well. I've been on a lot of USOs, and they're just they're the best kids in the world.
They're brave kids to go over there and do that. There's no doubt about it.
They actually want, you know, I want to go, and we're not sure we can protect you.
You know, what gets me sometimes is the tens of thousands of Iraqis that have died.
Oh,
don't get talked about.
Collateral damage. What a word. What a word.
Yeah,
collateral is something you use to borrow, you know, money on your house, not, you know, incidental deaths to when you bomb the. God, don't. Let's calm down.
Okay, we'll let you calm down.
That's the one that touches me the most. Is Find the Cost of Freedom this time.
Yeah, and with all the pictures in the background, which have to go rapidly to get all the faces in there. Sad. Rockline is brought to you by Fox, which is a good thing, and they got a cool new show coming up this season. In the world of hostage crisis negotiators, they're the FBI's top two. This fall, everything is negotiable. Standoff, it's a new series coming Tuesdays, and that is Fox Fall. A few moments ago, Herbie Hancock was mentioned, and the song is Spanish. Young's looking for a leader, a song that CSNY are doing on tour. They're in West Palm Beach on the 8th of this month, the 10th in Atlanta, Georgia, D.C. on the 12th, the 13th in Bethel, New York, Uncasville, Connecticut on the 15th of August, the 16th in Boston, on the 19th, Saratoga, New York, on the 20th, Homedale in Jersey, Wantagh, New York, that's Jones Beach, of course, on the 22nd, Wantagh again on the 23rd, dates at csny.com. It's Rockline and Bob Coburn. It's a night with Stephen Stills, and from Campbell Sport, Wisconsin, we welcome Al. Hi, Al.
Hi there.
How you doing?
Okay, hi, Steve. I would like to know if the Go-Go Singers with Richard Ferre were your very first recordings that were released?
Ever released, yes.
And what can you tell us about those recordings? That goes back a ways. It was basically started as an off-Broadway play, and it sounds like it.
It's very put together and arranged and so on. My very, very first recording were made at the CIA listening station in San Jose, Costa Rica, and also which also doubled as the Armed Forces Radio.
How much time did you live in Costa Rica?
I was there for 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah.
And you picked up Spanish pretty well, because Spanish Sweet and Sweet Judy Blue Eyes. And
yeah, well, I found out in Spain that my Spanish basically more resembles Ebonics.
you got to watch it with the foreign languages sometimes, because the slightest little thing you can change everything.
Es cierto que sí, porque ya en esos días se nos sirven la ganancia de mal educación. Okay.
And I was going to say that. Imagine that. You ready for another call?
Yes.
Let's do one. This time from Columbus, Ohio. It's Jamie. Hi, Jamie.
Hello, Stephen. What is your memory of working on the song Hot and Nasty with Steve Marriott and Humble Pie?
Absolutely zippo. None whatsoever. It was so late and so just enhanced that I just remember hanging out with Steve and what a great guy he was. But we worked on this song, and I played a little acoustic, and it was a little epic, and it was very late.
Chance for you to talk to Stephen Stills live, 1-800-344-ROCK. I loved Humble Pie. I loved Steve Marriott. It was so sad to see him go.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to see them live, the band in concert?
No, actually, no, I didn't.
I got to see him live because I was such a Humble Pie fan. I got front row seats for that show, and I didn't realize that Steve Marriott spits, or he did. He would prowl the stage, and he would spit up in the air, and I should have brought a raincoat that night.
Yeah, well, he was about 4'11", so spitting up would have been the thing to do.
Yeah, but he's on that tall stage, so I don't need no doctor, but I did need a raincoat that night.
Yeah.
And didn't bring my raincoat. From Queens, New York, Jim, you're on Rockline with Stephen Stills.
Hello, Stephen.
Hey, bud.
How you doing? I would just want to know, I saw you in CW Post a long time ago, and you sang a song called Treetop Flyer. And I was wondering if you had ever recorded it since, because I've never heard it since or before. And it was one of the best things I've heard.
You will hear it on this tour.
You're doing it on this tour?
Yes.
It's a great song.
It's totally in keeping with our outlaw message.
Well, it's about a former Vietnam pilot that turns to drug smuggling, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, then it fits right in with what you're doing.
Yeah, of course. Of course. What's not to like? And then we sang Immigration Man right after it. I mean, it totally fits.
You went through a period with Manassas and early solo stuff. We're about to play Love the One You're With. And it kind of that great...
Love the One You're With. Why don't you put me in a time capsule, in it? You know, why don't you think of something newer to play?
This is one of your best songs ever.
But I'll make a deal. I'll sing it for you live.
You'll sing it for me live?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that then.
Okay.
I'll go for that.
Yeah. and pick another record. If you get down, you get confused, and you don't remember who you've been talking to. Concentration slips away, 'cause your baby is far away. And there's a rose in the fisticle, and the eagle flies with the dove. And if you can't be with the one you love, honey, love the one you with. Don't you be angry, don't you be sad, don't you sit crying over good times that you had. There's a girl right next to you, and she just waiting something to do. And there's a rose in the physical, and the eagle flies with the dove. And if you can't be with the one you love, honey, love the one you with. There's a rose, fisted down, and the eagle flies with the dove. And if you can't be with the one you love, love the one you with. Turn your heartache right into joy. She's the girl, ain't you, boy? Get it together, make it nice. You ain't going to need any more advice. There's a road in the fisted girl, and the eagle flies with love. And if you can't be with the one you love, honey, love the one you with.
All right, now that's just bleeping cool. And you're better. That was a lot cooler than playing the CD version. All right, now before we take more calls, we got some negotiating to do here. We got some negotiating to do. In the next segment, I'm planning on playing Southern Cross.
Okay.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah, play that record, because I don't know if I can get up there.
Okay, yeah, you don't know if you can do that one live or not. Okay.
Well, no, I could do it. I'd have to stand up, and I can't. I'm not sure I could get that high note sitting down. So play the record.
Well, God forbid that you'd have to stand.
Yeah, I basically I sing all different if I'm sitting down. I like standing up. Go ahead.
Well, that was cool.
Thank you.
That was just absolutely totally cool.
That's what you wanted, is off the cuff surprises.
Well, that's what I wanted, off the cuff surprises. That was a great surprise.
God help us if we pre-programmed all this.
Oh no, I don't want to do anything like that. It's live, It's just sit and have a good time. So
even sponsored by Fox, we just can't do it.
Let's take a call from Florida.
Okay, let's do that.
Let's do that. This is Troy. Hi, Troy.
How's it going?
We're having fun.
How's it going, Mr. Stills?
It's just going great. What part of Florida are you from?
I'm from Boynton Beach. It's in West Palm.
All right.
I'm about to go see the concert that's coming up on the 8th.
Well, let's hope the weather's good.
Oh yeah, it should be fine. God willing, it should be fine. I was wondering how it felt when you did Red House as a cover.
Well, it's like how it felt was sheer nerve. It took every ounce of courage that I could to do Red House, because, that was Jimi Hendrix's song, and, who in the hell do you think you are trying to cover that man? So I just, but Red House is an old song, and every once in a while I'll get my nerve up and do that.
You did a great job on it, and it's a great song to begin with. I love that side of Jimmy.
Yeah.
And that side of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. From Staten Island, we got Gary. Gary, I guess the power back in Staten Island now?
Hi, Stephen.
Have you melted, buddy?
All right, how are you?
Go for it, Gary.
Yeah. Y'all done got a clue what it's like in the South. How's everything? What's the question, guy?
My question is there any chance of you thinking of doing anything with Manassas again?
Well, it's actually kind of up to me and Chris, and and I haven't seen her in a while, and who knows? Anything is possible. If you are lucky enough to have lasted this long in this industry, then anything is possible, and there's just no sense in not being willing to try anything.
You know what? I'm glad to hear you say that, because when David and Graham were here, they conveyed that sense that they realized to be in this business this long and do that well and pack people into concert halls and everything is truly a gift to be treasured.
Pinch me. Honest, it's a wonderful wonderful way to make a living, and they used to have sort of a fallback thing. Okay, well, if I can, and now it's too late for that. So y'all are stuck with me.
and that's a good thing. Stephen Stills is talking to you tonight. Toll free. We'll pick up the tab at 1-800-344-ROCK. That's 1-800-344-7625. Dan called that number in Oklahoma City. Dan, you're on the show.
Yes, I was just wanting to know if Mr. Stills would ever have a signature acoustic guitar, and what acoustic guitar does he prefer playing?
I do have a signature acoustic guitar that's sitting right next to me. It is the Stephen Stills model D45 special that we started them in 2000, and we made 91, and they're made out of all the original materials that we use except for the ivory. We don't use ivory. We use a kind of it's a composite that's got some deer antler in it, and also some and plastic ivory it's called, and but it's not elephant ivory. Everything else is original, and we can't get that Brazilian rosewood anymore. But we used the stocks that Martin had on hand. We've made the D45, and we've made a double 045, and now we're going to make a single 045. We made a triple 045, and we're going to skip the double and go straight to a single 045, which is the parlor guitar. It's very easy to carry around with you, but it's it's really beautiful, and I'm very proud of it.
That's a beautiful guitar. It sounds great. You make it sound great. Where do they make the Martin guitars? Do you know where they're actually made?
Nazareth, Pennsylvania.
I thought that's the case. We had Robbie Robertson on the show, and he was talking about the song by the band, The Weight.
Yeah.
And that opening line went down to Nazareth.
Yeah.
It's about going to get a guitar.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not about the Holy Land at all.
No. And the other thing is Mario Andretti lives in Nazareth. And, of course, Nazareth, Pennsylvania is a small town. And he and I was race chasing, because our friend of Paul Newman, so I met him, and I go, and blah, 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 and one thing led to another, and he said, you ought to have your own signature guitar. And I said, well, I could only be a Martin. He said, well, I'll go talk to Chris. And he went and talked to Chris, and that's how it happened.
That's fantastic. We had George Harrison on the show a couple of times, and one time he was on, we were told he will not play live. It's just not going to happen. We had a Martin, I believe, a D28 lying in the studio, and he picked it up and he played it all night long. Yeah. It's like a security blanket. And then he took it with him and said, it's me fee, Just walked out with it.
Very English thing to do.
Yes. I'm glad I didn't own the show back then. Rockline is brought to you by Fox. In the world of hostage crisis negotiators, they're the FBI's top two. This fall, everything is negotiable. Standoff, a new series coming Tuesdays, Fox Fall. RocklineRadio.com is our website. You'll see who's coming up. George Thorogood next week. He's going to play live. I don't know if it'll be like Steven tonight with all these surprises and everything, but he's going to bring the slide guitar and crank out a couple of songs here.
I'm sure he will.
Oh, he's
I'm just eyeing that
guest.
Strat with the George Harrison attitude. And there's a little champ amp right underneath it.
What Steven's referring to is our studio is beautiful. It's Valley Sound, and Jamie Sutton owns it, and the walls are lined with guitars, and you cannot take one of those, because I don't own those. If I owned them, we could talk. You could probably walk out with one, but they're not my guitars.
And I'm not George Harrison. But believe me, George Harrison wouldn't have cared one bit.
Yeah, tell me about it.
And
pulled the truck
Keith
up to the back door.
Keith Richards is even worse.
Okay, I did the Fox. I did who's coming up. MySpace. We're on MySpace. The address is myspace.com/Rockline Radio. Oh, man, it doesn't matter.
1057 WAPL.
Rockline and Bob Coburn with Stephen Stills. What's that?
Have a bad connection.
You have a bad connection?
Yeah.
All right, well, if
I'll
you
just be still. It'll be all right.
Just be stills.
Can't sit stills. That was my nickname.
You have been the perpetual motion machine tonight. There's no doubt about that.
I'm reverting to my childhood, to my inner child.
Yeah, you let your inner child out very well. Let's talk to Freddie's waiting his turn. He's in Greenville, South Carolina. Freddie, you're on Rockline with Stephen Stills.
Hello, hi, Stephen.
Hey, Fred.
How's it going, man?
Good.
This is not really a musical question, or it's not political, but I was wondering when Cosby and Nash, y'all got together, who decided whose name was going to be first?
Well, it's nearly mellifluous that Crosby should be first, but when you've known David for a little while, you realize that there was no other thing than to put his name first. That's just the way he is, and there's no changing him, and he will laugh at that as hard as anyone else. And but honestly, if you take it and you put three names on popsicle sticks, I dare you to find out a way that sounds better than Crosby, Stills and Nash.
And it does sound, part of it is because it's impregnated in our brains forever, but it doesn't sound good the other way, right? I mean, Stills, Nash, Crosby, it just doesn't have the ring. It doesn't have the same ring.
Nothing works.
Plus, CSN, see, that's locked in, too. Right. Not a musical question, but a pretty darn good one there, Freddie. Thanks. Stephen taking your calls at 1-800-344-ROCK. We head to Garland, Nebraska to talk to Ryan. Hi, Ryan.
Hey, how's it going?
We're good.
I'm glad to hear from all these red states.
That's no problem. Hey, Stephen, I saw you July 20th at Red Rocks. I got to say, what a show.
Oh, man, that was fun. We set a record at Red Rocks. Nobody's played 3 days and filled all three of them out.
I know. It was a total blast. But my question is, my favorite song of yours is 49 Bye-Byes, and I'd like to know how that song came about.
It was kind of, it wrote itself in stages and then finally all got smushed together, sort of like an eclair. It just grew out of hanging out with the guys and putting this thing, and then the current arrangement that we didn't do at Red Rocks that time, but we do it again when we go back. It's a standard with CSN shows and with my solo shows. But it just sort of evolved, like they do. They show up and then you don't let go when you've got hold of one.
And I believe with 49 Bye-Byes, if you look at the lyrics and you count the lines, it's 49 of them.
I didn't know that.
I think it is. I think it is.
That's too hippified and spooky for me.
It's hippified and spooky.
And when you play it backwards, it says...
Well, it's just as spooky that I might know that. Think about that. What have I been spending my time on?
Get this man a life.
Yeah, please. Tell us about Southern Cross before we play it. And we know you like to sail and all that. Did this one write itself?
I ran a boat down there and it showed up, and then I had to turn right around and come back, and I finally got to go back 35 years later and stand on the bow of the boat and sing the song Southern Cross underneath the real Southern Cross, because it didn't write itself until after I got back. And so I finally was down there with a friend of mine on a really beautiful 100-foot motorsailor, sloop rig, and just, I didn't have to do anything, hang out with my wife, and Tahiti is Tahiti, Bora Bora is to Bora Bora, and there's no place like it. And the stars, well, Lord, we don't know what we're missing here. You really have to drive out into the desert where there's not so much ambient light, and you can see the stars. Lordy, it's something that makes you know that there's something bigger than you.
So, like the king of the world, you stood on the bow and you sang the song to the Southern Cross.
Oh, not like the king of the world, but the humblest person in the world.
Song really takes you down there. Beautiful.
Yeah, I noticed in listening to it that it feels a lot more like the sea does. More than, we tend to get a little frantic when we're playing the shows and play it a little quicker and more powerful than it needs to be. It needs to have that thing. I tried to recreate the thing of what it's like to meet a swell.
Yeah, with the pacing on it's beautiful on the CD track.
In a big boat,
Let's get one more on the air here, because
boys.
People are loving to talk to you. It's Steve, and Steve is in Lyndhurst, New Jersey. Hi, Steve.
Hey, how are you?
How you doing?
I was wondering how Stephen's stance was with what happened with the Dixie Chicks and President Bush.
I'm sorry?
What's your opinion of the Dixie Chicks, their comment about President Bush, and then what happened to him afterwards?
Well, unfortunately, when we say those things, we're basically working to our base, and the Dixie Chicks happen to have gotten on the wrong side of the Bushies, the Bush supporters, and we don't have that problem, and I don't care, and I think that they are perfectly within their rights. It says so within the law. The First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States says that you are allowed to freely speak and redress grievances of any sort, including those directed at your chief executive. He is a public servant. He works for you and me. He ain't God.
And I know that the CSN stance is it's unpatriotic to not speak out.
Right. Well,
patriotic to speak your mind. And for all the emails that I'm going to get for this show, I want to remind you that Ted Nugent was on a couple of months ago. We let him rip too, so.
Yeah, there it goes, man. More power to him.
Fair and balanced.
And the thing is, me and Ted probably have just as much in common as we are indifferent, and so do I with anybody that supports Bush, except for the truly maniacal crazy to them. They don't want to hear anything else, and that's what offends us.
We're going round the bend, but we're coming right back.
All right.
You have such great opening lines in your songs. Just captivating and
fiendish thing looking about.
Yeah, they just draw you in, And you got so many good songs. Bless you for all those good songs.
Well, thank you. I am blessed to have had them come through my little pea brain. I'm really I'm humbled by the whole experience. But then when you need another one, you have to sit down and
you need another one.
God, what rhymes with feminism?
Let's thank some people for listening, for calling, to our affiliates, to Michael Jensen, Elliot Roberts, Bonnie Leviton, Kelly McConey Imboden, and to our guest tonight, Stephen Stills. Fantastic live stuff, great humor. Just good to see you, man.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here, and thanks for that last question. Remember, it's your country.
I'm BC, and I'll be seeing you. Rockline has been brought to you by Standoff on Fox. The awesome sound of Rockline was made possible in part by Sennheiser mics. Sennheiser, microphones, headphones, wireless products. Sennheiser, the sound that moves the world. Rockline is mixed by Jimmy Rash. Thanks to Felicia Bihar, Kareem Akle, and Sean Ledusser for their invaluable contributions. And thanks also to Jamie Sutton and Valley Sound Studios, the home of Rockline. Rockline is produced by Bob Coburn. Assistant producer and talent bookings, Christy Graham. On-site producer and technical direction by Greg Jernigan. Executive producer, Bob Coburn.
1057 WAPL FM, Appleton, Green Bay. radio station.